Hey, what's up guys? This is Jerry from Oasis Tires. Today we're going to be training on tire tech position, which includes mounting, balancing, tire repair, receiving work orders and following procedures, as well as safety equipment and lifting up vehicles. Here at Oasis Tires, safety is always #1 priority for us. We recommend gloves, back supports, safety glasses, and steel toe shoes. A customer service rep will hand out a work order which indicates what the customer needs. It's important to have our hands clean, check dashboard lights, proper fitment on tires, and we want to check the vehicle for prior damage before working on the vehicle. It is important to carefully inspect the vehicle where we're lifting it from to avoid any injury. There's multiple options. We can use a jack or a hydraulic lift. It is always important to inspect to make sure that we're not going to damage any undercar parts. Always secure your vehicle with the proper locks. Always make sure that center caps are facing up to avoid any damage. Use a socket appropriate for the lock nut and we remove the tire. When we remove the tire, it is important to inspect shocks, ball joints, brakes, wheel studs, or any other damaged parts. For the tire repair, we first inflate the tire, we put it in the tire dunk, and make sure we check properly for any leaks that the tire might have. It is important to mark the location of the nail or the object that punctured the tire, as well as a valve stem to keep the proper balance on the tire. We first take our valve core tool. After releasing the air from the tire, we place the tire in the bead breaker, making sure that we inspect that the machine does not touch the tire or wheel that may cause any damages. As we can see here, we have the valve stem at a 12 o'clock position to avoid breaking any sensors. The first bead, then turn around the tire and break the second part of the bead. We clamp the tire either from the inside or outside of the wheel, depending on which wheel it is. For our own personal safety, we make sure that we lift the tire with our knee, not our backs. After clamping the tire, we're going to dismount the side with the shortest wheel step. It is important to identify the location of the wheel sensor in order to avoid any damage. We first align our dismounting arm about 1/4 inch up and 1/4 inch out from the wheel to avoid any wheel damage. We place our sensor underneath the duck head and we lube the bead to ensure that we dismount the tire easily. After using the bar, we spin the table clockwise and we dismount the first bead of the tire. We put the sensor back underneath the duck head. Using our bar, lifting the tire, we can see here that the sensor is not touching the tire. We spin the table clockwise and we have successfully dismounted the tire. The first step is to remove the item that punctured the tire with pliers. We secure the tire with the clamp making sure that the hole is visible from where we stand. With a die grinder, make sure we clean out the hole and make it the appropriate size for the patch plug. With a scraping buffer, we buff the tire in a uniform pattern to smoothen out the surface. Using our cleaner fluid and a scraper, we clean the surface. Apply tire repair cement to the surface in circular motion and wait for it to dry. After the cement is dried, we install our patch plug, and with pliers we make sure we pull the patch all the way through. Using a roller, we roll off the patch in order to ensure uniform adhesive. After we have rolled the patch, we apply sealer to ensure there is no leaks in the tire. We clean our wheel beads to ensure proper seal. Again, we line up our duck head and we make sure that the tire bead does not touch the sensor. We place our sensor approximately at 6 o'clock and we start mounting our first bead. Again, we verify that their sensor is at 6 o'clock position, and with pressure on the tire, we spin the table clockwise and our tire is mounted. Making sure that the tire line is lined up with the valve stem. Our next step is to inflate our tire according to the vehicle specifications. We inspect our beads to make sure that they're properly seated against the wheel, and we double check our air pressure. Using a valve core tool, we install the valve core and making sure that there is no leaks, and apply a cap. After checking our tire for no leaks, we're ready to install our tire. There's two different types of wheels we can classify: a luxury wheel or a steel wheel. On our luxury wheel, we're first going to lift the tire and we apply a centering cone with a wing nut, tightening only by hand. We measure our wheel to give the balancer the specifications, and we're going to use a static balance, only balancing from one side. We lower our hood and we inspect the tire for any outer roundness or deformations that may cause any vibration on the vehicle. After the balancer has given us the weight needed in order to balance the tires, we're going to clean the surface and apply stick-on weights. If it's a chrome wheel, we're going to install gray weights. If it's a black wheel, we're going to install black weights. We respin the tire, making sure that it zeroes out. For steel wheel applications, we're going to measure both sides of the wheel in order to use clip-on weights on the inside and on the outside. After our dimensions are set, we spin the wheel and the balancer will give us the weight needed to balance the tire. We take our clip-on weights and install them where the balancer indicates them to be installed. We do this for both sides. It is always important to respin the wheel to verify that there is no deformities on the tire or anything that might cause a vibration and that it zeroes out. We remove the tire from the balancing machine and we should be ready to install it in our vehicle. When we're installing it on the vehicle, we have to install the lug nuts by hand at least 2 or 3 turns to avoid stripping any wheel studs. With an impact gun, we tighten the wheel. After torquing the wheel, we're going to clean the tire and wheel to deliver a presentable service. Make sure our hands are clean in order to drive the vehicle out, and we acquire plates and mileage in order to deliver back to our service advisor. At Oasis Tires, we look forward to working with you.